We're back with more on the WHHI News. We told you a little bit about the mock trial being held by the 14th Circuit Solicitor, Duffie Stone, who is with me. Also, Linda McAndrews, we're going to ask her. She is someone who volunteered to be a juror for the mock trial. And also Stephen Gursky, who actually is being one of the prosecutors in the mock trial. Linda, why'd you volunteer for this?
Because I thought it would be interesting. I've never been a juror, and it gives me an opportunity to see what that process is, as well as to help my community.
And you actually are working, or they are presenting a case that has actually occurred in the past. Mm-hmm. Are you already, I know it hasn't concluded, you've got another week to go, but as you go, are you giving feedback to people like Stephen or others as to how they're doing?
Yes.
Have you been nasty at all?
No.
do you have
great
constructive criticism, or just all good things to say?
No, I think we have constructive as well, such as where we think it was lacking.
Okay.
The evidence might have been lacking, or that kind of
So
input.
that could be so helpful.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're almost, in a TV show like Perry Mason or something?
No,
Not quite.
Not quite, but it does feel like what I would imagine being
Sure.
a real juror would feel like. We're not allowed to talk about anything.
Oh, that's just same way.
When we go to lunch, we talk about our lives, not what we saw in the courtroom. And then when we deliberated, we had some disagreements.
Oh, wow.
And we had to...
Just like you would probably in a real case.
Yes.
That's interesting. So, Duffie, why did you feel it was important to bring in the component of volunteers to serve as jurors?
Just because what Linda just said.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, we do try to, we make a kind of a big effort to make it as exact as it is in a normal courtroom. But what the jury can do in this setting that they cannot do or normally do not do is the critique. And I could go into the jury room and ask them, what are your issues? What do you like and what do you don't like? I want that feedback. Sure. I need that feedback from people who, I know how well Stephen does on a regular basis, but in a courtroom, having somebody that is not familiar with him, is not familiar with the facts of the case, and can come in and give me feedback and give them feedback. I think your group, and we've had 2 or 3 groups already, but I think your group, actually, I went out and talked to the lawyers first and told them 2 or 3 things that I thought they needed to improve on. The jury then came out and said almost the exact same thing, but in different words. And I think from a lawyer's standpoint, that's extremely helpful to hear it, not just from another lawyer, but from the people that you're going to have. I mean, she could I'm sorry you've never been on the jury. We'll see if we can.
Guess what? It's going to be happening.
No, I can't. I don't have any control over that.
No.
But we've had a number of people that actually volunteered to do this because they've always wanted to be in jury service.
And boy, what a case
to
to be on. As we mentioned in the first segment, it's about a woman who's on trial who was a child care worker. 2 of the children died in her care. 1 was seriously injured. And Stephen, what has it been like for you to hear from people like Linda, the jurors? I mean, how do you normally get to hear from jurors in a real case?
No, normally we don't get that kind of feedback.
At the end, they're just gone.
That's correct.
Yep.
That's correct. But it is great to actually hear from jurors and members of the community and see how they do react to the way that we present the case, because it's incredibly helpful, because oftentimes as prosecutors, we are trying to put ourselves in the shoes of the jury.
Absolutely.
Because we want them to reach a conclusion that we want them to reach. And again, they give us that feedback, and it's a huge benefit to us as new attorneys who are training and getting better.
Now, Linda, do you notice any difference between, I know Stephen is one of those attorneys that's working on this, do you notice, this is going to sound weird, but differences in style and approach?
Oh, yes.
And is it because of who you are that one style or approach might work more than another? Or, you know what I'm trying to say?
That's interesting you asked, because with our group on Tuesday, some of the ladies were kind of put off by the approach of some of the attorneys.
Because they were what?
Well, they said they were a little bit like bullies.
Ooh, interesting.
And
did you take notes?
I saw it as
I
saw it as aggressive, assertive.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
They interpreted it differently, which I think all of us tend to.
Oh, I think that is really fascinating. We're almost out of time, like 30 seconds left. Anything else you want to add before we let you go?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for doing it. I mean, the service we will probably end up having about 50 people that come in and do various trials during these next 2 weeks. And it's been invaluable for me, invaluable for the lawyers, and not only thank you to you. I did this earlier.
Yeah.
please contact our office if you're interested in
Good.
doing this in the future. We'd love
Yeah.
to. We'd love to have.
It sounds like a great time. It really does, at least to be a volunteer juror anyway. I want to thank you all. Thanks so
Allie,
much.
thank you for having us.
And when we come back, we're going to hear about how the port strike is affecting Lowcountry Food Bank. Don't go away.